Hey guys, how about if we do something a little different, move to the outside of the bus and let's do a little bit of a fiberglass repair. Remember where the bumper was hit on the back of the vehicle and I put a new bumper on it? Um, right above that area there was a small crack in the fiberglass, and there's also a big chip taken out of the gel coat at the bottom. And none of it's real structural, so I think we can fix it pretty easy and use only hand tools. And something everybody can do. And why don't you just follow along with me and we'll take a whack at this, okay? Give me a minute here. Okay, so here's the little area we were talking about. We got a little bit of chipping going on right here, and right here it's cracked the gel coat, and it only goes around to here, so it doesn't go over to the edge of the panel, and there's no exposed edges. So I think that we could just sand that out and put a little plastic filler on there and smooth that out. And also we have a crack in the gel coat. See how thick the gel coat is here? But again, no crack through, no breakthrough. I think we could sand that off, and we can just go ahead and fill this area in here with a little more plastic filler. I'm going to put some paper along the top of this bumper here, get this all taped off so I don't get anything on it. And yeah, I think we'll do all this with just hand tools. I don't think we even need a power tool for this. Let me collect up some stuff and I'll get back with you and I'll show you what we need, and we'll start the repair. Okay guys, I think I have most everything here I'm going to need for the repair. I'm not showing you some 320 wet dry paper that I have that I'm going to end up doing the final sand on the primer with, but we'll get to that. But first of all, you're going to need something to wipe down the panel to get it clean, and prep solvent for painting would be the best thing if you got it at a paint store, but you know, in a pinch this will work. Turpentine, clean rag. We'll wipe off that whole area up there where we're going to be doing our little spot repair, and some lightweight filler and a small spreader and the cream hardener. And I found this from the very first bus I built. It's some duplicolor in a spray can, and it's code YZ for Ford. And even though my other one was a 94, I believe it was, it'll still work on this one here because it has the same color code. So this should still work. Just a spray can of high build primer. You want something that has a filling capacity. You don't want just regular old primer. You want something that is a filling primer, something that'll build up a little bit of thickness so you can sand it back down. And I just happen to have this left over, and it's a blends in, blends all. Either one of those products will work. What it does is it blends the wet edge of your color coat. After you get all your color on there, you can spray a little bit, real lightly with that around the edges, and that will blend in your color. And so you won't have a rough, powdery edge on your spray paint. But I got some 180, I've got some 80. This is what we're going to prep the panel with, right where the plastic filler is going to go on. And it's also going to smooth out the plastic filler. Then we're going to move to the 180. Then we're going to prime it. And as far as a sanding block goes, I'm just going to use a piece of a shim because we have such a small area there. I'll just use that for my sanding block. And you'll need a little tape, and I got some paper there. What I have there is just a roll of old newspaper, the unprinted newspaper I got from the Times Standard a long time ago over in Eureka. They had a whole bunch of rolls there, and they were practically giving them away, and I just grabbed some of them just for this type of thing here. And so we know what we need here, so we'll go ahead and get started now. Okay, I think the first thing I want to do here is get this out of my way here. I don't like taping things off unless I have to. I don't like breaking things either, but if I keep going like this, I'm going to end up breaking the lenses too. Okay, so we got those out of the way. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up this area, make sure there's no wax contaminants on the surface that's going to mess me up. So okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take this paper by hand, and this rough edge on this crack, I want to smooth that out. If this would have been any deeper, I would have had to take a grinder and V this in and fill it with fiberglass resin and some matting that I would have shredded into the resin and filled it in to make sure, you know, I had a nice good structural repair. But see, that crack's almost gone now. That was barely got into the fiberglass here, see? So that was just all in the gel coat. Okay, this isn't going to require any prep yet because this paper's too coarse. I'm going to be feathering this out with some 180 later, maybe even some 320. But right now I'm just going to be putting fiberglass, basically what I have is Bondo, and it's going to go right here. But I need to go around the edges of it with a little bit finer paper first. We got to keep this repair as small as we can. We don't want to paint any more of this than we have to. Okay, so now we're going to move down here. It's going to be the same process here. Just going to rough this up a little, just so the filler will stick. This could have been a lot worse, you know, the bumper being hit like it was. This sure has got a lot of gel coat on it here. The way these bodies are made, they're done in a mold, and they spray the white gel coat in, the body color, they spray that in first. Then all the fiberglass gets sprayed in on top of that with a gun that chops up the fiberglass, and it just sprays it on there. And when it hardens, you have this big shell here with a smooth face on it, and the smooth face ends up going on the outside of the bus. So that's the way that works. So I'm gonna have to get some some plastic filler mixed up now. and we're going to fill these little areas here. So I'm going to turn you off for a minute and get that all ready to go. Okay, so I've got some of the Bondo here. That's basically all this is. It's a lightweight plastic filler, and this here is the hardener. And the cream hardener, doesn't matter what color it is, just as long as it's cream hardener for plastic filler, it'll work. They make it white, red. I've seen it in blue and green too. We have blue here. Anyway, we want to fold this in, and you're going to not want to mess around too long with this, because it has a shelf life after you mix it. And you just want, depending on the temperature outside and humidity, everything, you just want to get it mixed in the best you can. Make sure it's all smooth, even texture. You don't want any of that white or the gray color from the primer. You want it all mixed smooth. And it's best to mix it like this, where you're just pushing it over itself, rather than trying to stir it around and up and down, because it'll get air bubbles in it. And you don't want that either. Okay. And you notice I didn't stir it with the paddle that I'm going to use for it, because I didn't want any of the raw product to be on that paddle, and that could goof me up too. So stir it with something different, putty knife or whatever. So we want to put enough on here that we're doing the job, but we don't want so much that it's going to make a problem for us to sand off. So I think that'll do that one. All right, we'll let that dry, and we'll sand that off.